Hi there, welcome back. So we've got Scotty's 11 STI in the shop again, and the reason it is here this time, or what we're taking a look at this time, is the Killer Bee Air Oil Separator. Killer Bee reached out to us and they wanted us to test this Air Oil Separator that they make, and so we installed it on Scotty's car and we've done some testing, and so I want to let you know what we found. Before we dive into that, I just want to say, if you like this channel, if you like the content that we're putting out, please like and subscribe to the channel. That helps us out a ton. And the very best way that you can support us to make sure that we can come back and make more content for you is if you head over to our website, which is flatironstuning.com. If we have anything at all that you might want or need there, your business goes a long way to letting us come back to make this content for you. I will also mention that if you like the technical side of this, but you're looking for something that's maybe a little bit more entertaining, we actually have a podcast now. The Flatirons Motorsports Podcast. It's on our website under the blog section, or it's on iTunes as well. We're working with Ryan from DSX Motorsports and Toss from OTC Racing. Sit down with those guys. We've had a lot of really good conversations, and we put it up as a podcast for you to listen to. We've got a lot of good stuff over there. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more long form and conversational for a little bit more entertainment than just something that's like really focused and technical, definitely check out the podcast too. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Killer Bee Air Oil Separator. So first impressions, taking it out, it's a very well-made piece. You can tell that there's a lot of design that went into this product. The quality of the welds is top-notch. I'll also mention that the hoses that they sent us is their Motorsports grade hose. If you're gonna step up to this product, we were really impressed with that Motorsports hose. It really holds its shape. It's very rigid. Especially for a car like this that has a top-mounted intercooler, and you've got the intercooler piping underneath. The intercooler that also is going to be kind of in the same area as the drain hose for the Air Oil Separator. That Motorsports grade hose is really going to stand up and hold its shape better than any of the kind of standard Gates hose that comes in most of these kits. So it's definitely a worthwhile investment. On the install side, I'll say just two notes. The install was relatively straightforward. First off, in watching Killer Bee's install instructions and in talking to them, so they kind of show attaching the vent hose to the front port on the turbo inlet. And in talking to them, they said you could certainly do either one. Based on our experience in our testing, we know, or we've seen a lot more vacuum come from the rear port on the turbo inlet because it's closer to the turbo. The front port on the turbo inlet is closer to the filter, and it seems to not pull much, if any, vacuum at all. So we attached the vent tube to the rear port on the turbo inlet. The other thing is height. We noticed that we could not find a way to run the drain hose from the Air Oil Separator without having an uphill section in it. So we ended up making a bracket that raised it up about 1 inch so that we had a consistent downhill slope to that drain hose. I don't know if that's just something to do with this car or how we were installing it, but that's just something to be aware of. You definitely do want a downward slope for that drain hose. So that was something that we had to do. But once we got it in, it's worked very well for us. First thing we did is we took this car to the dyno. Now, so Scotty's built this car to race in NASA time trials, which is based on power to weight. So this car is so light that we can't really make a whole lot of power. So the engine and turbo in this car are stock. We're able to get to the power limit that for the class with that. Now on the dyno, the Air Oil Separator performed very well. We connecting to this rear port on the turbo inlet, we're always seeing at least about 1 psi vacuum, maybe a little bit more vacuum than that. So definitely happy with that result. And after we put it on the dyno, then Scotty's now taken it to the track. Now the track that we went to was Pikes Peak International Raceway, which has a banked oval section, and then a road, a couple turns on the infield as well. So that track, because of that banked oval, that really does put a stress test on the oiling system and on the PCV, or can, and we had no issues to speak of at all. So far, definitely happy, definitely impressed with the results of this Air Oil Separator with the testing that we've done. I will say that there are a couple questions that we still have. One would be how this performs on a car that is making a good deal more power, maybe more boost, and possibly a built engine that has looser ring tolerances and such, where you're going to know you're going to have more blow-by. The tank here is relatively small volume. It is a cone shape, so it seems to be, there's a lot of aspects of this design to make it efficient at getting any liquids to deposit out of that intake charge. But it is a relatively small volume. So if you know going in that you have a car that is moving a fair amount of oil through the PCV system, that would be one question mark. Is the tank going to be big enough to support that? The other thing in the design with the vent tube, it connects to the top, but it actually connects to a tube that goes fairly deep into that cone. Again, I think that's to facilitate swirl, to try and get liquids to deposit out. But again, if you have a car that is moving a lot of oil vapor through it, there's a question as far as how much oil would it take in the tank to kind of come up to that tube and then seal that chamber off. Because if you would have the liquid come up and seal that, at that point it's possible that basically the crankcase ability to breathe would be limited, if not eliminated, and that could cause some issues. Now, we never ran into that, even with going on this banked oval or a banked corner at the track. So I don't know that would be an issue, but that is one of the question marks, is on a higher power application or a car that's moving more fluid through there, would that be an issue or not? Don't know. So that's kind of the last thing that we'd like to test. But so far, I have to say again, impressed with the workmanship and with the attention to design. And so far it's worked flawlessly for us. So we're gonna keep tracking the car and, I don't know, maybe take it out to a few more track days and maybe come back with one more report after we've got more results under the hood. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully you liked the video. Hopefully it was helpful. And if you did like the video, if it was helpful for you, please drop a like and subscribe. That really helps us. And as always, stay tuned with Flatirons Tuning.